welcome to another episode of the United Stand. It's me and Mr. Green. Apologies for yesterday. Yesterday was not a good thing. We ended up on a different show. Technical difficulties happen, but there we go. I'm going to start off with what we are today, and we'll talk about, is it time for him to go? We'll kind of talk about, are the players turning on him? Will he change the system for Chelsea? You know, we're definitely looking for that. A lot of people are calling for the 4-2-3-1 online. And then also the other news that Benfica are looking to steal Amorim from United, and could this be a good move for him? How's your day? How's your day going, Mr. Green? Yeah, busy day.
It was a busy day at work, and then from work straight to the pitch to coach my high school kids team, and then home for the show. But you know what? A busy life is a good life, and I'll eat afterwards. And yeah,
absolutely,
it's good to be here.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll just start off with, is it time for him to go? I personally are looking forward to keeping him around for a little while. I still think there could be some changes to be made, changing the system. I still think he's good enough to get us out of this, but the stubbornness has to go. What's your thoughts on him going? Are you wanting to stay for now?
I want him to stay. I agree, though, the rigidity and the stubbornness to his philosophy. He didn't call it a system the other day. He called it his philosophy on how football should be played. I think he should tweak it a little bit. I think he should design his formation and his philosophy around the players that he has, because it's becoming increasingly evident that he doesn't have the squad to play the way he sees football should be played, or they're just not willing to go all in on what his vision is with the squad. I would like to, because I'm tired of the rebuild. We cannot keep repeating the same cycle and expecting a different result.
No, yeah, I absolutely agree. We can't keep doing that, the rebuild over and over again. You know, I've said before, like, how many managers we had since Fergie left now, and it's always been the manager, right? It's always the manager's fault. We had Mourinho, and it was Mourinho's fault. It was Solskjaer, Van Gaal, Ten Hag. It's always the manager's fault, and I'm starting to look at it now like, is it the manager's fault? You know what I mean? Like, is it more on these players that decide, like, hey, I don't want this as my boss anymore, and go, hey, I'm gonna get this guy fired? For me, you can't keep swapping the manager. It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable, because at the end of the day, for me, you get rid of this manager, and then we're stuck in with him not wanting some of the players that he's brought in. And that's what we've had in the past, right? Where it's like, okay, we've got to get rid of all these players that the manager doesn't want. Well, now, you know, we just spent 200 million on a forward line for him. We can't keep doing that. So for me, and I'm looking forward to keeping him for now. You know, but he has to change that system for him to keep that job now. Like, he has to get that build back up of the trust from the fans, from the players. Like I said, change the system until you can get that ball-winning midfielder that can press the ball at field, shall I say. So that's kind of where I'm at with him. It's change the system, build back the fans, build back the players, and let's see where it goes from there. He doesn't have long left. There's a lot of people calling for his head now, so I don't see that he has long left as a Man United manager, unless he changes the system. Do you agree with that?
Oh, I agree. Everything that I was able to watch today, they've got it down to, he's got 3 games till the October international break. One pundit out there even said there's internal secret documents, just how secret they are, because YouTube has a hold of them, that they're looking for replacements already. And I think at this point in time, United almost has to keep him. They paid Sporting money to bring him from Sporting. They gave him no option. They told him, you come now or you don't ever come.
Yeah.
And can we afford another severance package? Now, you look back at Jose Mourinho's severance package. It was 19 million pounds.
Mm-hmm.
That's a purchase.
How much was Ten Hag's? It can't have been
Ten
too
Hag,
much for.
I think it was around the 13 to 15 million pound severance package.
Yeah.
You know, you couple those things. Like Jose Mourinho's made quite the business out of getting sacked. Actually, I think he's made more money off severance pay than he has actually coaching.
That wouldn't surprise me.
He's up at 80 million euros in severance packages. So it's going to be, and then, so I heard Frank Glasner's name being thrown around, Areola's name being thrown around. Areola just got huge money.
Yeah.
Glasner's going to cost money because Crystal Palace doesn't let anything go for cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to be a coach for another 20, 25 million pounds.
Yeah.
When we could be spending that money on product on the pitch, which where it needs to be.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like I look back at 10 years, like, you know, Arteta at Arsenal. You know, he finished 8th. I know we finished a lot worse than what they did. Finished 8th. Yeah. He finished 8th, and then there was a point in the third season where it wasn't too far into the season, kind of like we are now, where he was sitting in the bottom 3, and there was massive calls for him to be fired that year. He ended up finishing 5th. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to be able to do the same. It's just not feasible right now. But with the one game a week, I was expecting, with a preseason and one game a week, I was expecting better performances. You know, I was one of those people who's like, hey, we got to give him time. We got to get that system built into place. It doesn't, for me, look like these players can play this system, and it's worrying that. I watched a video today of how open we were in midfield today compared to what we have been in previous games. And the game against City was just horrendous. I saw 2 or 3 players just sitting there in midfield. We got the ball put over the top of us when our entire defense was in their half, and Haaland was onside in his own half, but he was behind every single one of our defenders. That's shocking to me that can happen. You know, it's looking like Martinez is coming back. I've always been a huge component of, like, if that midfield isn't working, can we put someone in that midfield who's a defender, right? I personally think Martinez would be good in that position as a CDM. He's great at pinging the ball forward. He's great at tackling. He's box to box. But my only worry about him is his injuries. You know, the foot injury, the ACL injury. These are all things for players that you can lose that step. And I'm worried about him coming back because someone said to me once that he's too slow to play in that position. Well, if he's too slow to play in that position, he's definitely too slow to play in that back 3. Because you see Amorim likes to have his defenders up on that halfway line, where if he's too slow to get from our box to the midfield, then he's definitely too slow to get from the midfield back into his own box as a defender. So for me, I would look into maybe converting somebody into a different position. You know, Thierry Henry back in the day was a left winger. He wasn't a striker. He was converted to a striker, and look how good he became. You know, we've got to find something in-house for us to fix this, because we can't buy, we can't loan. We've got to convert somebody into that position that can do better than what Ugate's doing. Casemiro is perfect for it, but he just doesn't have the legs anymore. So for me, he's got to be able to change this system now. If he was to change this system, what system would you like to see?
I would like to see the 4-2-3-1, and if we had to convert somebody into that central defensive midfielder, I'd like to give 𝗦𝗶𝗴𝙍𝙀 a try.
You think? I agree with that in a sense, but for me, he's been our best defender, him and de Ligt. So it's kind of like, yeah, you put him in there, but like, I don't know. What about Dalot? Do you think Dalot could play that position?
I don't. I think he's just too one-dimensional. He's been a wing player his entire life.
Yeah.
And the reason why I chose Euro is because he moves up with the play.
Yeah.
He runs at defenders. He's an excellent passer of the ball, and he's not scared to carry the ball and drive the lanes, get into channels. 𝙈𝙊𝙍𝙀 is so one-dimensional. It's just down the wing, turn the corner, and try and cross the ball into the box. I agree with Martinez. I think he's tenacity, but he is fragile. And you're right. If he's too slow to play in the mid, then he's definitely too slow to play as an outside back. There's no way he's going to be able to counterattack.
Yeah.
So for me, it's the 4-2-3-1. I think is the best solution right now. Because then you've got your two central defensive midfielders, 𝙈𝙊𝙍𝙀, Casemiro, 𝗦𝗶𝗴𝗍, Casemiro, whatever pairing you decide that you want. It simplifies their role. Win the ball, pass the ball, and then you let Bruno, 𝗕𝗠𝗡, Cunha, and Sesko worry about the attack, and then everybody else pushes up. Right? You almost got that spear tip. So if you want to do the high press, it accommodates everything. And then you have that fourth defender. For me, 𝙈𝙊𝙍's got to play that sweeper role. I don't like a flat back four. I like a sweeper and then a stopper.
Yeah.
So that they and the two central defensive midfielders become that triangle, and they're interchangeable in the middle of the park. But you always have 𝙈𝙍 back there as a sweeper to clean up the mess if anything comes over top, anything gets squeezed, through the lines. He's there to sweep it up, clear it, move it to the sides, whatever it may be. So for me, it's the 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, I'd love to see the 4-2-3-1, come back again. When was the last time we had it, right? We had it under Ten Hag, but did we have the players to do it? I feel like Ugarte could be better purposed there rather than being by himself. And him and Casemiro next to each other with 𝗦𝗶𝗡, I think could be a great pairing this year.
Yeah.
Just just in general to kind of shore up that defensive line, and you have the ability to put Bruno in that center position that can push the ball out to the wingers, and then they can get it in or cut in like they're used to doing, and pass the ball to Sesko as well, or play the ball through to Sesko. I don't see what his mindset is with, okay, I'm not going to change it until they figure this out. Well, if you carry on with this, they're not going to figure it out, and you're not going to be there to teach them. It's not sustainable to keep this and have him continue to play this system anymore. He needs to change for me, and that's just the way it is. But I asked you what system you would play. If he would change that now, do you think it would make a difference? Because I feel like he's starting to lose the players, right? Do you feel like if he changed it, would it work? If he's already lost the players?
I do, for one key aspect, right? So what we've seen is the team goes as Bruno goes.
Yeah.
So I think Bruno isn't happy right now with what he's doing. There's no rhyme or reason to his game right now. He's poor. So if you put him back in that central attacking midfield role, you have 𝗕𝗠𝗡 and Cunha, 𝗕𝗠𝗡 and Cunha, sorry, wreaking havoc up and down the wings. Sesko as your battering ram up front. And Bruno starts scoring those goals that come in from the outside, the cutbacks, and those one-timers into the far post. But he's probably scored 8-9 goals like that last year, just trailing a little bit behind. The guys are making the space out on the side. It's either a ball into Sesko or a nice cutback to Bruno, and there's our offense. So I think if you make Bruno happy, because Bruno is a leader, people look up to him, they respect him, they go to him for advice. I think if you win over Bruno, then you win over the rest of the squad.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm feeling with it. It's like we have to accommodate Bruno, because he's not an 8. He about to be 31. Did he turn 31? He's not
31.
He doesn't have the legs to keep him. And he's a very fit player, but we were talking a minute ago about Casemiro not having the legs. Well, he's not far behind Casemiro in age. So if we're not expecting Casemiro to do it, then we can't expect Bruno to do that also. He's
And Bruno's never been pacey. He's never had lightning quick speed,
yeah, no, I agree with
right?
you. For me, it's kind of you're taking away Bruno's all his attributes by having him as an eight. I was definitely somebody that was looking to have him as that eight before, but the more the season's going on, but that could be just he's still learning it. He's still learning that position, but for me, you take away all of his attributes of creating chances. If you look at his chances this year compared to as early as last year, they're pretty far off. I don't think he has created many chances so far, and that for me is going to be is a big miss for Manchester United. Especially when you've got Sesko up front, and you've got these two amazing number 10s who are going to make a difference at Manchester United. I truly do believe that we are going to finish way above where we did last year, but we have to get, for me, we have to get something going. Just win 2 games in a row, man. Like we were talking about this yesterday, the guy that hasn't cut his hair yet, because we haven't won 2 games in a row since he came in last year. That's disturbing for me that we can't win 2 games in a row. We have to win that, and to do that, you've got to change the system. You've got to change the system now. Keep your job, get the players motivated, get them back on your side, which then will get the fans back on your side also. If there's anybody in the chat wants to have their opinion on that, let me know. But for me, that is that. I'm concerned now, though, that if he does change the system and we lose, what's going to be the consequences of if he changes the system and then goes up 4 games and he only wins one of them, or he only wins 2, but we get beat heavily in the over 2 games. I think like that there is like, okay, then he's just not good enough, right? Because he's changed the system, and I'm wondering whether he's having that thought too. Like, if I change the system and I still don't win, that's my job gone. So I'm wondering whether that's what he's thinking about. He's got to come away from being stubborn now and having this whole, I'm not going to change my system because it's going to get him fired. We're talking today, I was talking to you before this, like, there's reports out there today that, Benfica want Amorim in because of what he did at Sporting. That's another unsettling thing, because we always talk about players, right? If there's links to another team, it's unsettling for that player. Well, is it unsettling for him now? That, hey, like, this might not be going the way I wanted it to do. I could go back and change this team and get more respect in the league that I was already in.
With millions of pounds in his pocket.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts on that, like, regarding going back, Benfica coming in? How do you feel that with that changing his mind?
It gives him that parachute to be stubborn and rigid.
Yeah.
Because he has a fallback option already. It's a coach who knows, I'll get another job, and United's going to pay me out handsomely. I'm okay with it. I'm going to stick with what made me famous. And and he even looks different. Like, you can tell he's frustrated.
Yeah.
I think he's doing too many interviews, something that he didn't have to do in Portugal. And I don't think he realized just how under the microscope he was going to be at United. We're a big club, and people expect results, and they don't want to hear excuses. And I don't think he was ready for the weight that is on his shoulders here at United.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy right now.
It's a lifestyle in Portugal, football, but it's not like Manchester United. It's not like English football.
Yeah.
It's a very different league. It's a very different football culture. And I don't think he was ready for it. And to be fair to him, yeah, we went out and signed some players, but it wasn't the radical change that the squad needed. And whether you like him or not, and I don't like the bomb squad, but they were class players. Mm-hmm. So we broke even in a sense. We got rid of 3 class players. Maybe Anthony's not class, don't get me wrong, but people see it in Garnacho. Rashford showed huge class. but they were the upper echelon of United's lineup. We got rid of 3. We brought 3 in. We needed more.
Yeah, we needed that midfielder, and I was talking to you about this before, right? Did we make that mistake in getting Sesko? Because like for the last couple of games that he's been on, he's not getting the service. You know, we got a 6'5" striker who the ball could be put on his head. He's not getting the service on his head. He's not getting the service in his feet. Did we make the mistake in getting a striker instead of a CDM?
I 100%. I believe, you know, your strength starts from the back line and then it moves forward. Mm-hmm. So, you know, and I'm not comparing myself to Premier League coaches, Amorim or anybody like that, but coaching in a small town like I do, you're limited with kids who even know what a soccer ball is, let alone know how to play the game properly. So you've played, right? And when you're on those less skilled teams, you put your best players at the back. Yeah. And then you move your way forward. And I think that's what the transfer strategy should have been. And I think they could have been more creative. I listened to other pundits, and man, we could have went out and got 𝗕𝗀𝗊𝙍𝙍, who played at Fulham already. Bayern didn't want him. There's a loan. You're not outlying millions of pounds. You're simply paying his wage.
Yeah.
And there's a central midfielder. He can attack. He can defend. Good vision. Excellent tackler. We could have done something like that. We were in on 𝗕𝗊𝗍𝙍, so the money was there. The salary money was there. I don't understand why we just stopped and we didn't do something out of the box, like a loan deal.
Yeah, that's the same for me too. It's like, why did you not shore up this? There's plenty of players out in the world who obviously are not going to be at a Wharton level or a 𝗕𝗊𝗍𝙍 level like they thought. But there's plenty of players that could have gone out there on a loan and done a better job than what Ugarte's doing. What concerns me about Ugarte is he's played with Amorim before. He's played in this system. I'm wondering if the Premier League is just too fast-paced for him. You know, it's very different than in Portugal, very different than in France where he was before. So for me, it's like, is this a little bit too different for him? Is it too hard for him? Because he does look lost. But then again, it's also, is Bruno helping him enough? We need a box-to-box midfielder, right? Bruno's 31. Bruno can't get back. It's difficult to run up and down that field for 90 minutes. It truly is difficult to run up. And you're only getting a 15-minute break in between. It's difficult to run up and down, especially for a 31-year-old. So for me, it's like he's not getting enough help. Casemiro's not getting enough help in that midfield. I'm also looking at the team too, and like, they're all over the place. They don't look like they know where they belong on the pitch. And that's concerning, considering he's been a manager since November. So for me, you're right. There's no reason why a loan deal for a midfielder couldn't have been done in August, especially like you said, when we had the money for 𝗕𝗊𝗍𝙍. There's no reason why that couldn't have been done.
Yeah.
For me, I want to talk on a little bit else. I know we're not going to have too much kind of information regarding this, but it does look like Manchester United are set to reveal the full extent of their financial troubles on Wednesday so tomorrow, as they are published on their official annual accounts. I have stock in Manchester United, not much, but I do. But I got a notice today that tomorrow they're going to be releasing it also. This comes 6 months after minority owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe said they risked running out of money before the end of 2025. What do you think it's going to look like tomorrow? I don't think it's going to look good.
I don't think it's going to be good. But for the life of me, I after making all the cuts, the layoffs, the no free food, we're one of the highest earning clubs in the world. Where is the money going? Interest. Former payments to players. 90 million at the start of the transfer window. We were just forking out, right? And every year, that amount climbs.
Yeah.
And it troubles me because I heard The philosophy is now is they're going out and buying players for resale.
Yeah.
So you're not out here to win. You're out here, you're investing in players that you think are going to make 50, 60 million pounds 4 or 5 years down the road. Your philosophy should be to win the Premier League.
Yeah. How are you going to make 60 million on a player if you're sitting in 14th, 15th? No, I know Brighton could do it, and I know Palace can do it, but we don't have the ability to sell. We just sold Garnacho for 45 million.
Yeah.
You know, like in this market,
yeah,
there was plenty of players going for more than that I feel are lesser players than Garnacho.
Yeah.
I know Garnacho made a mistake on his debut that led to a goal for Bournemouth, but it was a new team, new system for him. So for me, we can't sold players. I think him and Dan James are the two expensive players that we've sold in the last 10 years. That's worrying. So if they want to change that culture of getting, like they said, 40, 50, 60 million for players, 70 million for players, those players are going to have to start performing. And right now, they're not performing.
Yep.
You know, we're looking at 𝗦𝗶𝗴, right, they call a generation of talent, came to Manchester United. But if he's sitting in 14th and Real Madrid can come in for him, they're going to do exactly the same as they did with Trent. Hey, run your contract down. We'll give you free. We'll give you a big bonus. So you're right. You need to get these players moving up. They need to start working better. And that, for me, is coming from Amorim, and it needs to come from a system change. It's the only way this is going to work. So, I just don't understand, the philosophy for that. I don't think the numbers are going to look good tomorrow. The interest rate on, what do we owe? I think we owe, 750 million, 800 million left on the club.
800
They
million
work for 500 million. It's like, how do we owe more now than what we did when we purchased it? The interest rate on that, what we owe, we still pay. I still think we're paying for Jadon Sancho.
Yeah, we are.
Which is terrible.
I think we got two yearly installments left on him.
Yeah, and he just walked away. He's going to walk away for free. So for me, the finances need to be fixed, and they need to be fixed soon. Like, I don't know where you're going to get the money for a stadium. I love the idea of a new stadium. And trust me, for anyone watching this, I love Old Trafford. I was just there. They are painting it. They're fixing things up, and it's looking good. But it is very old. It's like very, very old compared to a lot of the Premier League stadiums. I would love to keep it and build a new one next door, downsize that, have it as the women's, keep Old Trafford. It doesn't look like that's what they want to do, but where are they going to get the money from this? Like, I know in the long run, once the stadium is built, it's going to pay for itself. It will start paying off the debt, because you're talking about 100,000. That's about 24,000 more than what they can hold at Old Trafford now. I think it's 76.
Yeah.
That, with the amenities and everything that comes along with a new stadium, people are going to flock to it. So for me, eventually it will pay for itself. But where do you get that money from if they're so in debt like they are now, and they're struggling to buy players? What I'm worried about is they're taking more money out, more credit out to buy these players, and it's only going to put us in further in debt in the future.
And it doesn't end up good. I don't know if you ever watched the mini doc on Darlington FC.
Mm-hmm.
This owner came in, turned things around. Things were looking good. Builds a new stadium. It all falls apart. They no longer exist because the debt was too much. And be honest, the Glazers don't care.
No.
They're absentee owners. Jim Ratcliffe is an asset billionaire. It's not like he's got $1 billion cash to inject into anything. And I just think their philosophy is wrong. Manchester United was born from football. It became this huge club from football. They were able to have their own real estate company, their own insurance corporation, their own bank, because of the product on the pitch. And they were winning. And I think, and it's just me, some poor slob from northern BC, Canada, I think we need to get back to that.
Yeah.
There's many teams in the Premier League that aren't in it to win the Premier League, and that's why you play, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is to win the championship.
Yeah. You know, it's disappointing that I didn't even know the Champions League started today. I didn't even know the games were on. Like, because I'm so far gone from, United being in that competition, I just completely forgot that the Champions League started today. I miss the soundtrack from the Champions League. I miss the Wednesday nights, the Tuesday nights of being in that competition. And I'm sure every Man United fan does. So for me, we need to strive to... I don't believe we can get that this year. No. I was very much at the beginning of the season all hyped up like, yeah, we're going to be able to get the Champions League, at least 5th. If the Premier League teams do good, at least 5th. I didn't think we'd break the top 4, but 5th, getting the Champions League. I'm struggling to see where we're going to make Europe this year on the back of how we're performing right now. What's going to be a concern for me is once we face Chelsea, if we can pull out a win from Chelsea, we look at the next few games after that. That is the time, I know we've played Arsenal, I know we've played City, I know we're about to play Chelsea. Can we, after that, put 2 winning games together? And I'm struggling to kind of see where we're going to get 2 winning games together after the Chelsea game. Because it looks like we have Brentford, Sunderland, then Liverpool, then Brighton.
Yeah.
We have to put 2 winning games between Chelsea, Brentford, and Sunderland. Like, I'm concerned of the Liverpool game. With their
Man City turned us inside out like they did. Yeah. I am so fearful of the Liverpool game.
Yeah. Yeah, for me it's concerning. Like, for the Liverpool game, I'm like, where are we gonna fit? Where are we gonna finish? You know what I mean? Sorry, like, this brightness on here. It's how are we gonna finish? Like, with Liverpool, it's for me it's very concerning. Like, how we're going to fare against Liverpool, because I feel, is this another Ollie situation? Like, are we going to go out against Liverpool, get absolutely destroyed, and him lose his job?
It's like literally heading towards that perfect storm. Mm-hmm. All the pressure mounting, the poor play, the leaks from the dressing room, the unhappy players, the gossip and the rumors of, he's got support, but they said that about Ten Hag. Marinakis said that about 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗓 3 days later, gone. It just, I'm actually very fearful of Chelsea.
Yeah, I'm fearful of Chelsea. I have a strong feeling that Garnacho. I've always said this when we sold him to Chelsea, that he was going to score against Manchester United. I just have a feeling that he's going to do that. But for me, we have to get a result against Chelsea. I think if we beat heavily for another 3-0, another 4-0, it's a problem. And then we got Brentford.
Yeah.
Brentford lost a lot of players, and that's away too. But I'm struggling to kind of see where we're going to get any kind of any momentum here. Brentford, Sunderland, we should be beating Sunderland. I said we should, but that doesn't mean we're going to.
But they're looking pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And they made a lot of moves.
Yeah.
They must have signed 8-9 players this summer. I didn't pay particular attention to them, but they don't want to go back down. They are a storied big club in England with a decent sized stadium, and they want that Premier League money. They want to stay, and good on them.
Yeah. They're sitting in 7th right now. We can't. There's not one team in the Premier League I can honestly look at and say we should be technically beating that team right now. Not one team in the Premier League. Wolves are going down this year. There's no doubt in my mind. They're the only team that don't have any points.
They're struggling.
They really are struggling. They lost their best player in Cunha last year. They really are struggling. Four losses on the bounce. So for me, Villa are not looking too good either, and that's the other thing. We're talking about Unai Emery coming to Man United. Villa are sitting there in 19th place. Why do we want to play it? Why do we want that? I know he's done well in the past with Villa, but why are we looking to take a manager who was sitting in 19th place? Like, there's no excuses for him to be sitting in 19th right now.
Yeah, and there's no glamour right now in the United job. If you're Glasner at Crystal Palace, where your goal is to finish between 7th and 11th, and you're getting paid good money, why would you come to United?
Yeah. 3 draws and a win for Palace, and we've had 2 losses, a draw and a win.
Yeah.
It's very tight. I'm not going to sit here like, 1 win, and Everton are on 7 points, 1 win, and we're only 3 points behind Everton in 6th right now. So I'm not going too much into it like, hey, this is going to be the be all and end all, but it's just, for me, let's see what we do on Saturday. Does he change the system? Does he change the goalkeeper? Hopefully Cunha. It doesn't look like Cunha is going to be back. It doesn't look like Mount may be back. So let's see what he does on Saturday. For me, one thing that we did discuss when we're doing our own channel now is definitely keeping it to around that half-hour mark, so we can do more shows throughout the week rather than just 1 or 2. I'm trying with the YouTube channel, the Instagram channel, the X account as well, trying to get all that built back up. So, thanks for everyone that tuned in today. We're going to leave it there for that. We're going to revisit it tomorrow, see if there's any news out tomorrow. I'm looking to try and get some special guests on here real soon. Some big names out there in the Man United world. So I'm looking to try and get them on soon. It looks like we may be able to do that. But everyone else, peace out. Thank you for the views, and hopefully this channel grow from where it is now. But peace out, Mr. Green.